Welcome back to the 815 Exchange. I am your host, Chris Crenshaw, and we are live from the 336 once again. As I turn it over to the wheel, actually before I turn it over to the wheel, I want to make a big notice. Timestamps will be in the description, so if you're looking to jump to a certain part or you can't watch the whole thing at one time, I get it. This is long form content. Feel free to jump to wherever you want to go, whichever topic. I will have it in the description. So go there. But as I turn it over to the wheel, we have our topics for today's episode: the NBA, music and film, and also a little bit of video games, Champions League, and of course the NHL. And of course, we got the roundup at the end with the little medley of a couple different sports and a couple different topics. And yeah. So, without further ado, also, I do want to point out today's water sponsor. Actually, let me get up the full bottle. Today's water sponsor, unofficial water sponsor, is the Dasani. Don't know what that was. Is the Dasani. Dasani, if you want to sponsor me, feel free. My email is attached to my YouTube channel. Just anytime now, just send it over. But yeah, let me get straight to our topics for today's exchange, today's podcast. With the first spin of the wheel. And our first topic is actually my first topic on my notes. My prediction was correct for the Champions League final. I said it was going to be PSG and Bayern Munich, and I was correct. I also said Bayern Munich from the jump. I believe they were the best team on the planet. I believe they were going to win the Champions League, and they did just that, as they won 1-0 over PSG. Kingsley Coman had the lone goal on a nice header after a terrific assist from Joshua Kimmich. Very tense game. Really, to break it down for you, despite what the score might have seemed like it was boring, but it was a very tense game. Very, you could say there was some excitement. There was some excitement in the game. PSG just didn't take advantage of the chances that they had. Keylor Navas played fine. Their back line, besides Lehner, played fine. Midfield wasn't bad. But what usually wins them games is that front three, and the front three just was not clinical. Not as clinical as they usually are. Neymar, though he's been putting in great performances in the Champions League in the build-up to the final, he has struggled with his finishing, and that seemed to spread to Kylian Mbappe and Angel Di Maria, because they were able to produce chances, and there was even times I think they could have produced chances, but they missed out on those just off of bad decision making. But yeah, also I have to give credit because Bayern played a good defensive game. Jerome Boateng went down with an injury, and they still held solid. It was actually a good defensive game for both teams. But Manuel Neuer, again, he's been lauded as arguably in some years not even an argument as the best goalkeeper on the planet. He was the best goalkeeper on the planet on Sunday. He showed out. He was terrific. Coman was terrific besides the goal. Created a lot of chances. He was my man of the match. I believe he also did win man of the match. Lua comes 2 goals short of the Champions League record, but still, he should have won the Ballon d'Or this year. We can go on and on about it, but they finished the European season. I don't know why they canceled it, but anyways. Lua's terrific season continues. Shout out to Bayern. They earned it. Went perfect. Didn't lose a single game in the Champions League this year. Unblemished. Big season for them. I think they're built for the future. Got a lot of young, great players. Shout out to Alphonso Davies of Canada. played in the MLS over here for the Vancouver Whitecaps. Didn't have his finest game, but he did what he needed to do. Didn't concede. And he's a great young player for the future for them. They have a lot of those. While also having a lot of great players for the now and that are kind of club legends. Bayern has a good mix. I think that sets them up for the immediate future and being successful in the immediate future. I think PSG will be fine. I think there's some moves they can make, especially with Thiago Silva leaving, the captain, PSG legend. Unfortunately, couldn't go out with a win. I think there's some little stuff they could do, but as long as they have that Neymar Mbappe combo, they're gonna be contenders. I think probably the best, even though they didn't have their best game on the big stage of the Champions League final. I still think quite possibly the best duo in world soccer and world football. And yeah, that's about all I have for Champions League. Congratulations to Bayern Munich. If I have any Bayern Munich fans watching, congratulations. Short turnaround for soccer. They're coming back in like a month. I think some have already started back. So it's going to be very interesting to see how fitness holds up after the really quick, really short turnaround and see if that causes some injuries here in the upcoming season. But yeah. Spin the wheel for the second topic of the day. All right. I love how this is going in order of my notes. I have on my laptop right now. We have the NBA, which is just the big one. It's the big one. I'm going to cut straight to the chase. Actually, you know what? I'll get to the eliminations. We have Boston sweep the Sixers. I was shocked about that. I knew I had Boston winning, but even with Ben Simmons out, I thought the Sixers would put up more of a fight, but I don't think Brett Brown's going to be head coach much longer. I expect him out tomorrow or today, or at least sometime this week. The process is concluded. I mean, you can't have so many early round exits with the talent level they've had in previous years and they had on the team this year. I know weird circumstances for this year and no Ben, that's big, especially for the Sixers, but to be swept in the first round, I mean, but credit to the Celtics. Jason Tatum, I've been singing his praises since high school. I knew he was going to be a phenomenal player, and he was phenomenal. 28-15 in the closeout. Kemba also had a 30-piece. Shout out to Kemba. Yeah, Boston had no business. They're going to be very good. Very good. I think they're contenders in the East. We'll see how they do the rest of the playoffs, but I think they definitely, and they already are, making some noise. The second elimination, the Brooklyn Nets, see ya. Toronto Raptors, the defending champions, broke out the broomsticks as well. Siakam and Lowry handled business. Brooklyn, I mean, everybody kind of knew what the deal with Brooklyn was. Karis LeVert did great, but, I mean, their two best players weren't even playing. KD, of course, next year. And Kyrie coming back next year. Next year is supposed to be the year. So we'll see how it goes for Brooklyn. But this always wasn't going to be their playoff series. So really no surprise they got swept. I have to talk about the man of the hour. If you follow me on Twitter and check the description or go to the end of the video. If you want to see my social media links, they will be posted there. I said Luka Doncic. Luka Doncic is the one. Luka is the one. We were wondering what would happen after LeBron left. Who would be the guy? Luka Doncic is the guy. He is the future. He is the future face of this league. 43, 17, and 13 in a phenomenal. We already knew he was a superstar, But this was, an insane. One of the best playoff performances I think I've seen, personally. He had in Game 4 versus the Clippers. I would be amiss if I didn't mention Lou Will's big game. Kawhi did Kawhi stuff. But Paul George, PG-13, Playoff P, or as he's become known on Twitter, Pandemic P, has been awful. If I can find the graphic I think Bleacher Report had, I'll pop it up somewhere, probably right here. But yeah, his average is terrible. Paul George has been awful these past 3 games. He had a good game 1, but he's gonna have to step it up. Clippers are in danger. This is a 2-2 series, and the Mavericks just beat you without their second best player. I understand the Clippers didn't have Pat Bev, but Porzingis is much more valuable to the Mavericks than Patrick Beverley is to the Clippers. I think that is a unanimous opinion of everybody in basketball. Especially if you still have Paul George and Kawhi Leonard, you should not be struggling like you are. I said this was going to be a close series, and it is. I think this could be one that goes all the way. And it really possibly should be 3-1 if Porzingis doesn't get thrown out in Game 1. Because he shouldn't have been ejected. So, Luka, shout out to him. I think the Mavericks are one piece. I was talking with one of my friends. It doesn't even need to be a superstar, but just another guy that can help take off the pressure, take off some of the responsibility that Luka and KP have, and really be another shot creator, be another playmaker for them. I know Trey Burke and Seth Curry, shout out to those two. They've been balling. But I think Dallas is one more piece away from being perennial contenders, because Luka's only going to get better. And I think KP is going to be elevated with playing with Luka. And he's played a lot better, I think, as he's gotten back into a rhythm. He's gotten back healthy. I think it's been really important for Porzingis and him playing up to the level we know that Kristaps Porzingis can play at. Moving to the other team in LA and the other big media matchup, the Lakers are up 2-1 versus the Blazers. I saw some awful takes. Absolutely terrible takes about the Lakers after Game 1. People thought Dame couldn't bleed. They thought he was invincible. Well, a couple days later, it's 2-1. And Game 4 is tonight. I wouldn't be shocked to see 3-1. Nurkic is getting picked on, especially at the end there in that fourth quarter. He was done and had nothing for AD. Braun gave him the work. Braun with a big game last game. Big game in Game 3. After he coasted in only 26 minutes, he played in Game 2 and they beat him by 30. He had 10 points. LeBron scored 10 points and his team won by 30. But yeah, not to say the Blazers couldn't get back in it, but I'm buying a lot of stock on the Lakers advancing here. The other 1 versus 8 matchup as we go to the East, we got the Milwaukee Bucks and the Orlando Magic. Saw some hot takes about this, though I think the Bucks appear to be fine. They're up 2-1 now. Nice to see the Magic be competitive, though. That point's good for them in the future. Dealing with what they're dealing with. I still don't think the Bucks are going to do anything past this round. Giannis can't do it by himself, and the fact that this is a competitive series tells you, I think, all you need to know about this Milwaukee Bucks team. They need somebody besides Giannis. Middleton's not the number 2. Like I said, he could be the number 3, but he ain't the number 2. Miami is showing out. Shout out to Tyler Herro, Goran Dragic, Bam Adebayo, and of course Jimmy Butler playing out of his mind. Miami is the dark horse, I think, right now in the East. especially with the way they're playing. They're up 3-0 against the Pacers. They've been great. They've looked great, and I wouldn't be shocked if they also break out the broomsticks tonight. I believe they play tonight for Game 4. But yeah, I have Miami winning. Might have to take Bubble TJ Warren off my most dangerous persons list. But who knows? Maybe they make the comeback. Maybe he spearheads it. We'll see. I think Miami closes it out, though. CP3 in the Thunder versus Harden in the Rockets. Russ is currently hurt, and it took effect in Game 3. CP3, great performance. He had that. I mean, he just kind of chucked it for the dagger. I don't know how he made that, but that's why I call him the point guard. But yeah, that one's another one I could see the Thunder, especially with Russ being out, if they can keep taking advantage, tying up the series, and this being a longer series. Of course, the Rockets, even without Russ, they have James Harden. He's liable to explode for 50 at any moment, as he is the best offensive player in today's game. But a very interesting series brewing. And of course, the last playoff series, we have Utah and Denver. Jamal Murray and Donovan Mitchell. Utah and Denver seem to be the money matchup. Even though Utah is up 3-1, it seems to be a money matchup. It's produced a lot of great games here in the bubble. Jamal Murray went nuts. 50, 11, and 8. Spider went for 51 as the Jazz went up 3-1 yesterday. First time in playoff history, two players on opposing teams both had 50 points against each other. So, incredible stuff for those two. Even if the Nuggets lose, I think this experience is good. I want to know what's wrong with MPJ. I think he's kind of vital right now. If they're going to get back into the series, they need for him to show back up and get back into the performance he was having before the playoffs when we were just in the bubble ending of the regular season. If they're going to come back from this 3-1, they definitely need him to show up. But Spider playing phenomenal. And the other news in the NBA, of course, is the NBA draft lottery is conducted. As we know now, the Minnesota Timberwolves have the number 1 overall pick. I expect it to be Anthony Edwards. Who's the best player in this draft? I have no idea, to be honest. I think everybody's got the big three as Ant, Wiseman, and Melo. Yeah, I mean, I'm not too thrilled with this draft class. It could be one of those that surprises me, but I think the next year's draft class looks so much better right now than this one. It's hard for me to get excited about this one. The Warriors got the second pick. I think Wiseman's the perfect pick and that he'll be a great fit there. The Hornets got the third pick. Probably going to be LaMelo, I would think. Though I don't know how much defense is going to be played for the Charlotte Hornets. But the Knicks fell to 8th. Sorry about that, Knicks fans. Your misery continues unless you get a steal with the 8th pick, which is possible. But probably not what you wanted to see. And yeah, that's the NBA recap for this week. We'll see what happens next week. As by this time, this next podcast will probably be getting into the second round. All right, the NHL, who are also they just conducted their first round, just ended. They have entered the second round. Before I get to my second round predictions, the Washington Capitals fired Todd Reirden after a first round loss to Barry Trotz, their former coach, who delivered them a Stanley Cup championship 2 seasons ago. They lost to his Islanders in the first round. Reirden got fired. See ya. I mean, I think the Capitals should have kept Trotz. I feel like they were being cheap with the not wanting to extend him, and they're paying for it right now. You got Ovi for how much longer? One of the greatest players ever. So Caps got to do something. Very interested to see who they hire. But yeah, second round matchups. We got the Vegas Golden Knights versus the Vancouver Canucks. Vancouver's got a great young team. They got great young stars like Elias Pettersson and Quinn Hughes. I'm going to go with Vegas, though. Marc-Andre Fleury, Robin Lehner, a great goalie duo. They got Patches, Alex Tuck. And I believe Vegas took game one. Yeah, I got Vegas. They're the number one seed for a reason. Again, like I've said in the previous podcast, one of the best, I think, expansion teams in all of sports, start-wise. I mean, it's been incredible for them. Next matchup, we got Dallas and Colorado. Very interesting matchup of great first lines. Colorado has Nathan McKinnon, who leads the playoffs currently in points with 16. Max really established himself as one of the top players in the world. They got Mika Radnin, Gabriel Landeskog. The Stars have Tyler Seguin, Jamie Benn, Anthony Radulov. Should be a really, really good series. I believe the Suns, the Stars took game one. But I feel like I'm going to take the Avalanche here. I think McKinnon is going to have... I just have a feeling that this is going to be McKinnon's kind of breakout playoff run, which kind of pushes him into that. He's already an elite player, but that elite tier superstardom in the sport really kind of makes him a big name because he's got the talent for it. I think Colorado has a phenomenal team. And yeah, I think they make that recovery from the game one loss and they take it. Next series, we got the Philadelphia Flyers versus the New York Islanders. I'm going to go with Philly in this one. I think Carter Hart, who's coming off some great performances in round one, versus the Canadians, one of the best young goalkeepers in the game today. Going against Semyon Varlamov for the Islanders. I think the Flyers got a great young team as well. Ivan Provorov in the defense. I like them. I like them more in this series. The Islanders, I think it's going to be... this could be one of those that go to a Game 6, Game 7. Wouldn't surprise me. Islanders, of course, they got Trotz, great head coach. Matthew Barzal. Great players for them. And, yeah, I got the Flyers, though. Shout out to Gritty. I think he just arrived. I think I saw something about their horrifying mascot who will pop up on the screen. He's going to show up in the bubble for the NHL. But also, Gritty's possibly one of the best mascots. He's very entertaining. So, at the time when they unveiled him, it was horrifying. And everybody was wondering, why would the Flyers do this? But a couple years later, everybody kind of loves him. Ironically, or somewhat unironically, loves Gritty. So, now for the last matchup of the NHL Playoffs, and what I believe is the best matchup. This is the premier matchup in playoff hockey for this round. Top two teams in the East, the Boston Bruins versus the Tampa Bay Lightning. No Stamkos in game one. Boston won game one. No Steven Stamkos for Tampa Bay. Pasta is back for the Bruins, David Pastrnak. No Tuukka Rask, he left the bubble, but Halleck has been handling business for them, so perhaps Boston is all right. And, in fact, I'm going to take, even though Tampa Bay has guys like Braden Point and Nikita Kucherov and Vasilevsky, I'm still going to take Boston here. I think the experience is going to show up big. They look really good against a really good Carolina team with guys like McAvoy, Krejci, Bergeron. You know the usual names for Boston. Zdeno Chara. I think experience trumps Tampa Bay's scoring ability here, and Boston's able to get it done. It's going to be a very good series. It could go either way, but I'm going to pick Boston. So, with the NHL done and the NBA done and the Champions League done, I really have no reason to spin the wheel. But I don't know how I just did that. I'm keeping that. I don't know how. Round of applause for Chris. Perfect spin. Music and film is my last one. Film-wise, I watched Project Power, the film with Jamie Foxx and Joseph Gordon-Levitt, JGL. They had some solid performances. If I had to rate the movie, I'd give it a 7.7 out of 10. It wasn't like some great life-changing film, but it was just a solid, easy-to-watch film. Looking to pass the time, I'd advise. Very interesting concept with the powers and the pill. That's not really a spoiler, but yeah, I think they could have went some other ways with it, but for what it is, it's not bad. They did kind of leave it open, so I'm very interested to see if they're trying to go for a sequel. I think it was number 1 on Netflix, so they might make enough money to do it. Might have enough interest. We'll see. Of course, I have to get to DC Fandome, the DC Fandome. But before I get to that, let me get to Tenet. My most anticipated movie of 2020 is Tenet. I am considering actually leaving the house and going to a movie theater with the mask on. Ladies and gentlemen, please wear your mask. I'm tired of this just as much as you are. Please just wear the mask. You are not a sheep. I'm not even going to get into it. Just wear a mask. Yeah, I'm thinking about going to a movie theater, actually go see Tenet. I've never been so captivated and my interest grabbed by a trailer that was so well done, but I still have no idea what's going on in the movie. I know we often have trailers nowadays that give too much. I have not a single clue what is going on in Tenet. I mean, I'm gonna pull up some information here. I know it's got some like the time travel going back in time here, but still, I mean, I know Elizabeth Debicki I saw in the trailer. Shout out to John David Washington, formerly of Ballers fame, but he's had some great roles. Looks like he's going to be able to really make a name for himself and separate himself from his father, his iconic father, Denzel Washington. But JDW is a very good actor by himself. And of course, I would be amiss if I did not mention the man of the hour. And this is a perfect transition into the DC Fandome events, which I have to give credit to DC. It was a phenomenally done event. Saw some people actually clamoring for them to make this a yearly thing or a biannual thing. I'd be here for it. I watched most of it, at least the first 24 hours of the original stuff. Whether that was face to face or I had it in the background. I liked it, but Robert Pattinson, he's in Tenet. He paid his dues after Twilight, honed his craft, and now he's back. Robert Pattinson is back. If you could buy stock in an actor, you should have bought it about a year ago. But by now, Pattinson's back and he's doing big things. Besides Tenet, of course, we had that incredible The Batman teaser made up of only about 25% of the film that they were only able to film before lockdown occurred. I think Matt Reeves said, the director. Very excited about that. Coming October 2021. I think they're about to get back to filming, which is great. A lot of people were worried about Pattinson and if he was going to be able to be Bruce Wayne, if he was going to be able to be Batman. I think that teaser really erases any kind of doubt that anybody could have had about his abilities. I think the Riddler's going to be a great villain. I love the premise of a young, not fresh out, but a second-year Batman, still kind of learning the game, a little bit more ruthless. And all the villains aren't really the villains we know yet, but they're still developing. Everything's still exploding. I really like the concept they got there, along with the HBO TV show. I like what DC is doing. And I'm about to get to that. We had the Wonder Woman 84 trailer. We had the Snyder Cut trailer. Both of those look really good. The Snyder Cut looks like a totally different film from what we saw in 2017 or 2018. I tried to convince myself that I liked that movie. But I have to say Justice League just was not it. It wasn't. It just was not. It wasn't. In retrospect, it just was not it. I love the first Wonder Woman. That was a great movie. Or at least a very good movie. I think Wonder Woman 84 is going to be great as well. Shout out to Patty Jenkins. Shout out to Gal. Chris Pine as Steve Trevor is phenomenal. I said phenomenal about 80,000 times in this this podcast or show. And yeah, I was worried about the CGI on Cheetah, but they made it work. The little fight scene in the trailer looked good, so. So they had some movie announcements. Shazam! Fury of the Gods is the running name for it. First Shazam film was good. So, Black Adam. I think The Rock is a perfect choice for Black Adam, who is more of that anti-hero type. And I think The Rock is going to be able to play that perfect. We know he can play a villain from his time as The Rock in WWE or WWF, depending on which era you were born or watched. But yeah, I think he's going to knock that out of the park. Noah Centineo is Adam Smasher. I'm very excited to see him in a different type role and see if he can do something similar to Pattinson almost, in where Pattinson was in this teen drama that is seen as cringe for, I'm not going to say a little people, a lot of people. That was also beloved by its fandom. But he was in that teen idol type of thing, and he ended up becoming a legitimate actor. Very much so wondering if Centineo can come do a similar path, though he's not really dropping down into the indie films as much, but him take on more serious and other types of roles. But yeah, I think Black Adam's going to be great. Flash, I'm very excited about. Michael Keaton's back. So we got 3 Batmans at one time, or at least 3 live-action Batmans. The multiverse thing is dope. I like what DC's doing. Suicide Squad film, massive cast. That segment they had was chaotic. Footage James Gunn showed was phenomenal. But yeah, so many characters. I have to assume that there's gonna be some pretty gruesome deaths for some of y'all. Not everybody's gonna make it. Hence the name, the Suicide Squad. But yeah, I think it's gonna be a very entertaining movie. But you know, James Gunn, he's done it before. The Guardians of the Galaxy, we all know and love, and now he's taking on Suicide Squad. He's the man. So, also we have some video game news from DC. I have wanted the Bat family in some form of media. My favorite superhero is Nightwing, so I'm big into the Bat family. So I'm so happy to finally have a Bat family game coming out. Gotham Knights, the Batman is dead. We got the Court of Owls. We got Tim Drake, Barbara Gordon, Dick Grayson, and of course Jason Todd, the Red Hood. All of the heroes seem to be the protagonist. Saw some of the gameplay. Gameplay looked good. I know there was some people weren't exactly happy with it. But it's pre-alpha, lots going to change. I wouldn't stress too much about it. But I love the premise. I love how it looks. Very excited about it. The Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League game showed a trailer, no gameplay, but a cinematic trailer. Rocksteady returns after their hiatus with Arkham Knight. However, we're not going to get this game till 2022. Know a lot of people are upset about the little delays. Know a lot of people also wanted to see a Superman film, not a Superman film, but a Superman video game in the lines of the Arkham series, which would have been dope, but I think that would have been kind of difficult because of how overpowered Superman is, because that's kind of his whole thing. I mean, I'm sure they could have figured something out, or would have figured something out, or will figure something out. But I think I'm willing to give this Suicide Squad game a chance. Should be very interesting concept. Brainiac is taking over the Justice League, and Harley and the Suicide Squad, King Shark, Deadshot, Captain Boomerang all have to kill the Justice League. We'll see what actually happens. But yeah, that covers all the major topics here for today's episode. Deciding unofficial sponsor, please, if you're watching this, my email, if you want to get in contact, is linked to my YouTube channel. Please, just might as well sponsor me. Ladies and gentlemen at home, drink water, stay hydrated, very important. But yeah, to get into the roundup here before I end, Earl Thomas cut by the Seahawks. Earl Thomas cut by the Seahawks. Earl Thomas cut by the Baltimore Ravens. What was I trying to say? What was I thinking? Oh, yeah. A lot of people linking him to the Cowboys because of the past 2 years of him pretty much begging to be on the Cowboys. He's not the same player, obviously, as the Seahawks Legion of Boom, Earl Thomas. But, I mean, he's still a good safety. I'm more concerned with the off-the-field stuff. Even though this was an on-field incident, got him cut. He punched teammate Chuck Clark. We'll see what's the deal with Earl. Paolo Banchero commits to Duke. Finally, a big-time recruit commits to somewhere besides Michigan State. Tom Izzo was cleaning up. But in Coach K and John Shire and Nolan Smith, we trust. And Duke is back on the board. We're back on the board, ladies and gentlemen. Him and AJ Griffin are a great start to this recruiting class. Banchero's the number 3 player in the nation. Some would argue he's the best player in the nation. I'll leave that up to you. You tell me what you think. Also, some rumors about us getting Patrick Baldwin Jr., who is the number 1 player in the nation. But yeah, starting to see some of those bigger pieces fall as we get closer and closer to their senior seasons, or what would have been their senior seasons, getting to start in that normal season. But yeah, big pickup for Duke. Big pickup for Duke. Also, Trevor Kills, a lot of rumors about him. Duke picked up Jeremy Roach, his high school teammate, is there now at Duke, so I could see that also. Frankie Edgar in the UFC got fight of the night in his main event win versus Pedro Munoz. Big win for Frankie. He's a legend. Extends his record of longest fight time in the history of the UFC at about 7 hours, 10 minutes, I think. Frankie's a legend. He'll be in the Hall of Fame. Good to see him win and still be competitive here later on in his career. In baseball, the Padres have won 7 straight. Of course, they had that big-time Grand Slam streak of like 4 or 5 games. Fernando Tatis Jr. is playing like the MVP, leads the league in home runs and RBIs. He was up there for stolen bases at one point in time, I think. Also showing out on defense. 5-tool player. And he's going to be in MVP combos for a long time. A very long time. And that's really no surprise to anybody that's been following him or the sport for a while. He was the number 2 prospect in the game about a year ago. But he's playing great. Padres are playing great. Gleyber Torres on the IL for the Yankees, who cannot seem to get healthy. Who is the strength and conditioning coach over there? Might need to be evaluated. But, yeah. That about covers this week's episode of the 815 Exchange. Might be a quicker episode. I'm not sure what the time is. I can't really see because the camera's so far away. But remember to like, share, and subscribe. Leave a comment. Tell me what you want to see in the future. Tell me what you want to hear me talk about. All of that is appreciated. Thank you for watching. Thank you for the love on past episodes. I saw the views were still going up for episode 1. That was great. But yeah. without further ado, Ocho, signing off.